Hello, welcome to the LawyerFair Daily Podcast. And it is not every day in my life that I get to speak with someone who has sent out 116,000 tweets and has 367,000 followers. That's not 367, that's 367,000. And the fact that she is also from Manchester, which is one of my favourite cities, is a bonus. So welcome, Susan Dolan.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear that the sun is shining on Manchester, as it is on us down here in London. But Susan, you are a kind of SEO meister, really. I don't know how better to describe you, I suppose, and other wider skills as well. And I was just explaining to Susan off the phone that for some of us in this online marketing world, SEO is a little bit of a fog. And of course, the other challenge with SEO is you have to throw quite a lot of resource at it before you get to see any real results. So Susan, dazzle me with the reality of why SEO is so easy.
I never said it was easy. It's like the same as anything in life, isn't it, really? If you read as much, read as much as possible on the subject, you will learn as much as possible. There's 200 reasons why something goes to the top of the search results with 20,000 altercations. So it took many, many years to read them all. But I actually just read everything, and I've actually I've been present to the seminars and things like Larry Page. So basically it's just as much reading as much information as you possibly can. It's all mathematics, really. And once I learned it was about mathematics and I had a great understanding of mathematics, it was just a case of reading and reading. So like when I actually read the PageRank algorithm, I've read every single update. I just printed it off, and while I've been travelling around the world, I've just read it on a plane. So I am kind of like an expert on Google. I've even been into the Google offices in New York, had it confirmed that I have actually cracked the PageRank algorithm. But I never tell anyone in a seminar because Google have asked me not to.
Right, okay. So it's only you and I will ever listen to this recording, Susan. So that's still a secret to us. So I meant actually to say easy to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say SEO is easy because it clearly is a challenge for a lot of us. So what's your background in it? When did you start getting involved?
In 1999, I lived in Seattle in 1999, and everybody obviously was using the internet back then in Seattle. It was far more advanced than New York and Chicago. So I was just, I loved the internet. So then I kind of tried to design websites. It wasn't for me. I couldn't write the code or anything. And I actually borrowed a book from a library. I read it, and then when I realised Google was based on maths, that's what I said. I just kept reading the amount of kind of footage. I spoke to all the experts, and basically just reading. And kind of brought myself to, I was kind of giving advice at the time and I on a government contract, and then I set up my own business, and then I joined the Cruise Lecturers Association. I've given seminars to business owners because everybody was telling lies about SEO. Well, they didn't really know, they were just saying anything, they'd only been doing it a couple of years, and they were just saying, well, it's this and it's that. And I thought, well, I'll dispel all this, and I actually stood up and give seminars so people could have open questions and answers. So, it wasn't really a fog anymore, basically.
And the company you operate now is SEO Web Marketing, is that right? .co.uk.
Yeah.
And how long has that been operating, Susan?
Oh, it's been gone for years, since 1999, I think. We've been working with for a long time.
The actual company's been going since then, is it?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of obviously, it's just myself, and I work with a lot of freelance people, and so I have now people all over the world kind of working with me. So it all goes back to basically 1999 when I first set up the website. We've probably been running only in the last 8 years, we've been running with, really decent clients and things. But yeah, it goes right back to 1999, just running kind of small campaigns for people. Because I think really in England, nobody really kind of paid out for SEO until a few years later.
No, absolutely. And what do you think are the kind of key mistakes or things that get wrong about SEO? Because what's your view on what businesses get wrong most often in their way they address their SEO strategy?
I think what we do, I think everyone's kind of so keyed up that they want to get to the top of Google for these words that they actually sometimes carry on spamming the words and making things that makes no sense at all. I mean, we've broken down the mathematics for every single kind of element. What I also tell people is actually once you know a few little things about SEO, even simple things like when you save the image as it is. If it's a solicitor's in Derby, save it as solicitors in Derby. The same as, obviously you make that the alternative text, that would be in the title. And basically, what makes common sense actually works out in mathematics. What Google's trying to do is make sense of the real world. So in the real world, if you've done all these different things, they've just got mathematics behind just to kind of see, that's what makes sense. They can also layer information. They can put websites, like the information on top of each other. So it knows if you're duplicating something or not. It's scoring every page. And I think what lots of people seem to do is they seem to write very short, very small little content just to have loads of pages. And you're better off to write as much as you possibly can on one given subject. And then obviously send it off to other pages if, it's further information. And it's all about information, really.
Well, that was a question I was going to ask you actually, because we've got contrasting advice in our SEO strategy. And the long form article, creating the one really big and high value piece of work, 2,000 words or whatever, or a batch of smaller articles, and we've had contrasting opinions of it. Is there a view on what Google are looking at and valuing more highly?
I think really what you've got to do is you've got to think from the user point of view. You've got to think about what the user. Now, obviously Wikipedia comes up to the top because it has that amount of words. But from your user point of view, it depends on your user. And, if it's better for it to be broken down because it makes it easier for the person to take the information in, to maybe break it down into, say, 3 sections, I'd probably never put up anything less than 800 words.
Right. Oh,
so maybe 800, maybe 700, 600, or something like that. And that's probably, using images and things. And it's only what makes sense to the user.
Yeah.
Really.
That's useful. I'm taking advantage of this podcast to get a bit of free advice. And it's hopefully circulating the world on your benefit. Okay, well that's really useful. And in terms of what SEO web marketing does, then you're handling kind of clients across the UK, further afield.
Yeah, so everywhere. We've got some new clients. We work with Ivan Bitton, who's a celebrity stylist in Hollywood, who I met 2 months ago. So we've got some amazing connections. We just put a picture of him and Brad Pitt 20 years ago. It's just amazing, because everybody's searching for different words.
Yeah.
So we have basically an artist that's passed away, so we're working with his son. He's from Sweden. We have a client in Italy, clients, as I said, in Hollywood. It's just random. We have clients down the road in Levenshulme, so from Levenshulme to California.
Well, it's very little. There's a lot to be said for Levenshulme ahead of California, let me tell you.
That's where I'm from, you see.
No, I know Levenshulme well. What's the just out of interest? This is a very random question, but a Swedish client, is that Swedish SEO? Is that Swedish language, or is that going out through English?
Well, it's a gentleman called Carl Koller. He's passed away, and he's a neo-modernist artist, and it appears he might be kind of like a lost master, because he never really kind of got into the art world. So his son has found me, and I've been promoting his work. But I think the Americans absolutely love him, and they had like an exhibition going around America. The Americans absolutely love him. So this gentleman found me on Twitter. He's actually paid me in a work of art. I've actually chosen Picasso. Yeah, I have a Picasso from Carl Koller. I'm working with him to kind of raise the profile, but it's in English.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I never do. I mean, I can't work in other languages. I
was assuming that. Although you were mentioning you're fluent in Spanish, I say that tongue in cheek. But listen, we can't offer you a work of art. I can send you one of our lawyer ducks, Susan. Would that be of any interest to you?
Say again.
We've got a lovely lawyer duck, a legal duck.
That'd be lovely. It'd be fantastic.
Well, I think that's the least I can do for helping us out with this podcast. Listen, really interesting. Great to speak to you. And I'm going to put on the podcast notes the name of your website. But just to be absolutely clear, it's SEOwebmarketing.co.uk.
That's the one. Yeah.
And it's Susan Dolan. Thank you for joining us, Susan.
You're very welcome.
Not at all.
Have a lovely day.
And to you. That was the LawyerFair Daily Podcast. There'll be more next week because it is a Friday today. So enjoy your weekend.